up, everybody? This is Gamin, your Gamin podcast, sort of. This week's episode is a follow-up from last week's, and we're reviewing Rogue One. Last week was our want and desires from it. This week is a review and our thoughts. I'm Matt. Alongside me, as always,
got Ashton and Luca.
Yes, that's me.
Yes, it is Luca. How you guys doing today?
Good.
How you handling the cold?
Not a fan? Is that an understatement?
It's hot cold outside.
You know what? To be honest,
that reference. Thank you.
Thank you. I will say this: I'm fine with dealing with cold, but the snow on top of the cold is brutal. It's the worst.
Mm-hmm. And at least they can, like in Milton, they can get a Zamboni out to make the ice nice and clean.
Okay, so we're a podcast held in Toronto, Canada. There's a little suburb that we record in Milton. Tell me how they don't plow their roads. It is a solid ice rink.
I'm pretty sure it's just a Zamboni that comes by.
For anyone who has a stereotype about Canada where all we do is ride our polar bears to work and go ice skating. Yeah, this is...
We're almost there.
Yeah, we're halfway there.
We're almost there.
We're Bon Jovi. We're halfway there.
We're not living on a prayer, though.
No, but we will get there dead or alive.
You're wanted, Matt.
I am. Wanted man. All right, guys. Let's enough dicking around.
I think what the people want
is
our takes on Star Wars Rogue One.
Yes.
Rogue One, the Star Wars story.
Okay. Look, we're arguing. We're arguing hairs here.
Just saying.
Ashton, you were the big Star Wars fan.
Yep.
You made the Hoth reference, and based
not
on
that I appreciate.
It is quite. It is cold. Cold outside. It's
yes.
cold.
So
that's actually a good reference.
Give us what you thought of the movie.
This is terrible. I'm kidding. I liked it.
Really?
I did.
You would like it?
Shocking, right? I liked the Star Wars movie. No, it was.
Question?
Yep.
Before you go further, did you like Episode 1, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace?
When I watched it in '99, I did as a kid.
Now, is this true? I've heard this through the grapevine that you said at the time, I don't know if you still believe it, you said, Jar Jar Binks, this is the best character that George Lucas has ever come up with. True or false?
Misa think you might be telling a lie. No, not at all. He was terrible. I'm not going to touch prequels right now. No, I really enjoyed this.
Are we doing this about a prequel?
Episodes 1, 2, and 3, if you want me to be specific.
Okay.
Thank you. 3.5 minus 4 is where we at right now. But I did enjoy it. So the movie itself, how it kind of starts off, I'm going to be honest, the first act, if you will, wasn't my thing. They jumped around a bit too much. You start off learning about... you see Jyn Erso as a little girl.
Hold on. Now, that is the shocker right there. We finally have clarification. It's not Jyn Erso.
Correct.
It's Jyn Erso.
The movie did confirm that.
So it's Jyn. My bad. I thought it was Jyn.
I'm glad you...
Some say the drink gin was named after her.
Interesting.
Considering it's been out a lot longer.
I totally just made that up. But I wonder how many people believe me.
So we start with Jyn.
Movie opens up. We see Galen Erso, who is a scientist / engineer
/ farmer
/ now farmer.
Yes.
Who worked for the Empire, retracted, no longer does. Ends up being tracked down by Ben Mendelsohn's character, who is what's his name in that movie now?
I think it's Uncle Ben.
No. It's Orson Krellick.
Kemrick or something.
Director
like
Krellick, I believe. Yeah. So he comes to the whatever farming planet he's on. That was another issue. They introduced about 6 planets within 5 minutes, and I lost track of where the hell we were. So he ends up coming to the farming planet with some new badasses, the Death Troopers, all in black. Looked pretty cool. To coax Galen Erso to come back and work for the Empire to build this mysterious
by coax,
weapon.
You mean force him?
Correct.
Okay.
By threatening to kill his family.
Okay.
Typical villain things.
Typical villainy things. Yeah. So as that's happening, so you get to see, who Galen Erso is, who Jyn Erso is, where she's coming from, who this director Krellick is. Clearly sets up the movie. It then fast forwards to Jyn Erso in They are in captivity.
Also, spoiler alert.
Yeah, this is what we said we're going to do. This is a review of the movie.
Well, we can review a movie and not give a spoiler.
We can, but I don't want to do that. So,
Okay.
in captivity, and then a band of what seems to be rebels comes to her aid, which she's not going to have any of that. She just wants nothing to do with anybody because she doesn't know who these people are trying to rescue her. So she tries to escape, but then jumps back to her as a child, where we now meet Saw Gerrera,
Forrest Whitaker.
who's Forrest Whitaker's character. Again, doesn't really explain who he is. And this happens for the whole first act. It's jumping between her being young, getting old. Like, my first thought here is, why didn't they just stick to one plot line, play it out? I would be cool with that. Skip to when she's older now, play that out. I'm cool with that. From that point, continue the story. I'm good. I don't think it was necessary to jump back and forth.
It's funny that you mentioned it, because while watching it, I got a very similar feel to Batman vs. Superman in the first little bit, where it just started jumping around all over the place, and you kind of lose track of where it's going and what's kind of.
Except this one made a little more sense.
It did, but
Yeah, I didn't
wasn't
have any issues tracking it. Just as to way too much. It was unnecessary.
It was just it was jumping around, but it was streamlined, if that makes sense. Whereas Batman vs. Superman was just one chaotic mess. But we're not going to talk about that.
I went to the washroom
continue.
during that movie, and I had no idea what happened when I came back. Anyways.
You missed the pivotal part.
Yeah,
You were actually drugged with LSD, but that's a whole other story.
Allegedly.
Yes. Now continue on.
So from here, then finally, after jumping back and forth between the two kind of plot lines, it then continues to pretty much a rebellion force tries to capture Jyn Erso to coax Saw Gerrera now in future time, with her being older, to tell the rebel base what he knows about the location of Galen Erso, her father, who she presumes is dead at this point. So that was the whole kind of idea of her being captured. So
Are you doing a summary or your review on this movie?
a bit of both.
I think we're just telling everyone, this is literally not a review. This is just a spoiler for everyone.
Well, that's what you're getting here.
Well, to be fair, they don't even need to, watch the movie to figure out what happens.
But we all know what happens here at the end.
I don't know. I'm waiting.
Regardless,
I heard someone already has a copy of the sequel out, so
I heard.
they got a black market copy. I'm going to try to get my hands on it. We might review that one
Called
next.
episode 4.
Before you put your actual review on, you want to tell a bit about the story.
I understand.
Maybe I'm down a bit too deep, but
You've literally played almost like the first act.
I saved you the first act.
I forgot what happened in it, so
Now I
thank
reminded
you.
you.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Now I can give my review after yours.
Come in 30 minutes into the film, you'll thank me, because you're going to skip all this back and forth I'm talking about. No, it was good. The introduction of the characters, the new robot K2SO, played by the voice by Alan Tudyk, was fantastic.
The pirate from Dodgeball.
Yes.
That
People
was
probably remember him from Firefly, but yes, the pirate from Dodgeball.
The pirate from
Yes, I've watched Firefly.
Steve the pirate.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I never once.
He said didn't he?
Yeah, don't you remember? He says that in the movie at one
He does.
point. Like there's a pirate named Steve.
Fantastic character. I think for all of the robots that they've added, he's one of the funniest supporting characters they added in Star Wars. He was
great.
fantastic. The villains were actually really good. I did like Orson Krillic. I hope I'm saying that right. He seemed like he was this middle management guy trying to move up in the Empire and become upper management. And that's very evident in terms of when they build the Death Star. Spoiler alert again, yes, there's a Death Star in this movie.
Surprise, surprise.
So when they build it and he wants to take control over it, but that control's taken away from him, which really pisses him off. Again, don't know how much you guys want me to spoil this movie, because there's some big spoilers there.
Well, I think, to touch on your point, Krimlik should be a little upset that he doesn't have upper management qualities written all over him. Because this wouldn't have happened, if he was a straight shooter. If Buddy above him liked the cut of his jib. So
that's true. That's true. He's not a go-getter.
No,
I think that's what we've learned.
He's not ambitious. See, he's relying too much on Urso to get this job done. I think he needs to get the boots on and get to the nitty-gritty of things.
I'm pretty sure he's actually very ambitious to actually get this Death Star built, because it all kind of happened with him. That's the take I got.
He couldn't finish the job.
Check. And
So
that's true. That's true.
So the introduction of the characters, I really enjoyed. I think it had a great cast. You had Forrest Whitaker's character, Saw Gerrera, who was from Attack, I believe, the Clone Wars cartoon is where he came from. So nice to see him in there if you followed along with it. You had Donnie Yen, who played, I don't know how to say this, Chirrut Imwe, the blind guy.
Yeah, I don't know how to say his name.
Chirrut? Churro?
Yeah, Churro. Just go with that.
So I really like this character. I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoyed him.
The blind Jedi.
No, you're saying like churro, like...
Yeah, we're going to 7-Eleven after this.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that's what you said. Churro, like...
Yeah,
no, it's not how you actually pronounce it. We just can't.
The dough snack with the...
It's probably a very easy name. I'm not reading it.
Oh, it's, delicious.
So I really enjoyed this character.
Yeah,
he brought some good comic relief to it. It was a nice, interesting twist from another guy who doesn't use a blaster, who's very close to the Force. He mentioned that he was at one point the guardian of those Jedi temples, which house the Kyber crystals.
Yes.
Very cool touch. Kyber crystals are what are used to power the lightsabers.
And the Death Star, I believe?
Matt, I thought we're not spoiling this for the people.
Ashton, that went out the window within the first 5 minutes of you talking.
So once he's like, I'm Ashton, that was done. It was done. He's ready to go. Yeah. He's locked and loaded.
Mr. Spoiler. So I thought that was really nice that they brought in the Kyber crystals to this. So it was nice to hear that. Even the touch with the black saber, the black Kyber crystal, that was cool. Luke was giving me this stare.
I don't know. Wait, the black Kyber crystal? What?
There's always been talks about a black lightsaber.
Okay.
Right. So which is pretty cool. It's very elusive. No one's really.
Did I miss that in the movie?
Well, the fact that you're asking this question, yes, you did. They mentioned it.
Oh, they mentioned it.
Yeah, it was just a mention. So really good character. Jyn Erso, Felicity Jones, not Hoffman. Felicity Jones' character. She wasn't bad. She was good in this role. I didn't mind her too much.
She was no Rey.
No, I didn't
Ridley.
enjoy it.
I was reading a lot of reviews, and all the negative ones rip her a new one.
Daisy Ridley as Rey.
That was fantastic fun. JJ knows how to find the good actors.
Genuinely looked enthralled by the role. Yes. Yeah, she was very attractive, but she seemed so enthralled and so interested. Like, you could feel her performance coming through, and it felt genuine. Like, when she's on the Millennium Falcon and she's talking to Harrison Ford, you could see that it didn't just seem like it was her acting. It felt real.
Yeah, and it felt genuine. I agree.
Yeah.
So Diego Luna's character and Felicity Jones, decent chemistry between them. Diego Luna, it had to kind of warm up to him in terms of when we first saw him on screen.
I think he's just more like, people were expecting to like
dance,
love this guy or whatever, but he was just that character, and a lot of people criticize him as well. And I think that's his character. Not everyone is lovable.
Right.
Just because it's a movie doesn't mean the character has to be like Han Solo 2.0. He could just be like a jerk that eventually kind of gets it, but
it's funny that you mentioned that. What I really enjoyed about his character, and kind of moving away more so from the plot as I have been talking about, is this movie for once really showed, I don't want to use this phrase, but the dark side of the rebellion. Like, you always hear the Empire talking about how the rebels are the bad guys, how we're trying to make the galaxy right, and with everything they're doing. And obviously when you see a very fascist regime trying to do that, usually you're doing the wrong to get their vision across. But they're always saying that the rebels are the bad guys. This is the first time you actually see the dark side of the rebellion.
There's a whole movement on the internet saying the Empire did nothing wrong, and it's basically there's a subreddit. It's called "The Empire Did Nothing Wrong," and they have facts up there.
There's hardcore facts, but for you hear Diego Luna's character, Captain Cassian. Talk about how he's done things for the rebellion. He's murdered people. In fact, the first time you see the guy, he kills a friend of his or an informant in cold blood just because the Empire was alerted. The stormtroopers are coming towards him, and he didn't want to get seen or caught or have this guy rat him out. So he has no choice but to kill him. He does it in such a calming manner. He tells him, "Hey, it's okay, calm down," and bam, shoots him in the back. Like, you see him break down and say, "I've done things for the rebellion." You actually see, maybe these guys aren't as good as you think. Obviously they have a cause. It's just
a very good point.
Right?
I didn't notice that when watching the movie the first time. That's a very good point out.
Let's fast forward a bit, more plot spoiling for you, where you actually meet and find out that Galen Erso is alive, and he was actually helping out building the Death Star. Jyn goes to essentially not save her father, but knows her father's there, so go and talk to him. And Cassian was supposed to actually execute him. That was his orders from the rebellion. Is if you see him, you're not taking him back alive, which is what they told Jyn Erso they were going to do. You need to kill him. to prevent him from building this super weapon. So Cassian ends up not doing it. I guess he builds conscience, says, I can't do this anymore. But the rebellion...
Well, I think he did have a tidbit of information before.
That's right.
That Jyn Erso, she saw the recording, the
We're spoiling the movie for Luca.
Well, because you're saying why he grew conscious. I'm telling you why.
You're right.
He didn't just randomly grow it. He thought of the words that Jyn said, that she saw the holographic video from her father saying that he's built in a weak spot. Like he knew someone was going to finish the Death Star.
That's right.
So he wanted to be the one there, and he gave it the weak spot, which Matt was ripping on the engineers before, but the engineer knew
How
what he was
amazing
doing.
was that? That conversation was so good.
You guys totally took that out of proportion because you happen to be an engineer.
But it worked perfectly for now seeing this movie and for everyone out there in the Star Wars world. George Lucas, as much as he may have messed that up, now it's kind of
the writers fixed this problem.
They did. It's now right, and the whole idea was, to Luca, your point, Galen Erso pretty much said, hey, the Empire's going to build this Death Star with or without me. So the fact that I do it, I can build it my way, put this flaw in without them knowing, and that way he can control that.
Yeah, and then so Jyn knows this.
Told that to Cassian.
And he's, thinks it's BS, but he kind of thinks it might also be true.
Yeah.
And then eventually he's been doing the orders, he's done bad things, he's like, maybe I don't want to kill someone this time, and he wants to start becoming a better person.
That's right, but in the meantime, superseding that was the actual rebellion who put in the orders to send X-Wings in to bomb the shit out of that and make sure they just leave no evidence behind.
Yeah.
So again, the rebels not really doing the nice thing. They could have taken him alive, they could have tried to get him out of there, but they just said, you know what, screw it, bomb the shit out of it.
Which is nice. It's nice
ends
because...
up killing, Galen Erso, which then obviously infuriates Jyn, and that whole goes into the, into more of the plot. But again, just going back on the dark side of the rebellion, which I actually really liked.
Well, it's true, because I guess in any war or any type of battle-esque thing, it gets to a point where you are going to have to compromise your morals and your ethics to get the job done, and it starts to wager the question of what's more important, my job and what I'm trying to do and what I'm fighting for, or my moral ground, right? And what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to fight for the better cause or the greater cause in which I believe is the wrong, or stand true to what I believe is wrong and not go that route, right? Like, am I supposed to kill my own brother in arms that I'm fighting with, like Diego Luna's character does? Or do I spare his life and push forward with him and try to escape that way? Yeah. And you see that his goal and mission was to stop the Empire at any means necessary. That's right. Which was interesting, and it was a good point. And it was a good point that you brought that up. It was interesting.
Thank you. And in any war, right, you have two sides, and each side thinks that they're the good guys.
Yes, and that's essentially the problem.
That's how you get people to fight for you. They believe in what they're doing, and they think it's the right thing.
And even the good guys, generally, who come out to be the good guys, they also have to make terrible decisions, and they also do things that they shouldn't and kill civilians and more people than they really should.
Through history, it's happened, right?
Absolutely.
Internment camps in North America, or camps. I think Canada just had it. U.S. as well. Japanese internment camps in World War II, because. And that's not a nice thing to look
casualty
up
of war.
That's called the duality of absolute. It's the theory of that just because you see something one way doesn't mean that it is that way. So a good example to explain it, you see a flower that's green. You have color receptors in your eyes and you see it as a different color. Am I wrong or right? You're colorblind and you see nothing. Well, which one is it? Right? It doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It's more of a standing ground on where you believe
your
in a line. It's all perspective, which is interesting. So that was a great find, because the first time watching that, I didn't clue into that. I didn't notice that he killed his own rebel to escape.
That's
and you didn't even think about how the rebels aren't playing nice, and they're not some perfect white knights.
Win at all cost.
That's right. They're doing anything to take down the Empire. And again, to what cost, right? So I really like that. I like that they touched base on that. And then moving into probably once you get to the main planet, which was planet Scarif, where they're holding the Death Star plans. everything about that I loved. The whole third act of this movie was just off the charts. The battle on the beach, which was unbelievable, very well scripted, I think. The battle out in space above the planet Scarif was just fantastic. And then we'll touch on the end later. But everything about this movie except for that first 30 minutes.
And then the random, like, when they're in the briefing with the rebels, and just, like, randomly, like, the fish dude, the fish-looking dude's like, and she's like, Jyn Erso's gonna say something. It's like, you know, we gotta fight. It's like, what does she suggest we do? Like
it's a pretty good impersonation.
It's brutal. Like
the younger Admiral Akbar.
That is like
type character.
That's like
you guys had George Lucas's too hard.
Yeah. That had like George Lucas prequels hands all over it. Like it was bad.
It's
anyways.
One of the rare big blunders.
Yeah.
And again, this movie, it almost seemed more of a galactic Saving Private Ryan more than a spy movie, because I think they said it was going to be like a more infiltration type espionage film. Thank you. But this was more of Saving Private Ryan in space. This was the most like Star Wars movie you can get, where they actually have the most
term war.
Exactly. This was the most war we've seen in Star Wars, and probably the most graphic type of war, where stormtroopers are getting shot in the face, blown up, like with actual explosion. Like this was pretty hardcore, which fit the movie. The tone was amazing.
Yeah.
So overall, I really, really enjoyed it, and how it just tied in at the end into A New Hope.
That's what I was hoping for.
It was incredible.
You can literally put them side, but you can finish watching Rogue One and go right into episode 4.
Take that damn title scroll out of episode 4 and just continue it.
Yeah.
And it's a cut, and it works. They did a brilliant job. So overall, I highly recommend this movie. It's really good. Again, bear with the beginning.
It's not a perfect movie.
No,
but
it's not. I think they did a great job with this. I think, again, it's a nice departure, as I mentioned, from the main Star Wars films. I think it has a good feel. But if I will say, just to kind of wrap up and hear your thoughts.
Well, if we go as long as you, then we're going to have to get you a new hard drive.
Yeah, I think if you get it, you liked it?
I did. Probably one of the few things I didn't enjoy, again, was outside of the first half, was for probably non-Star Wars fans, but even for me as well, they didn't really introduce a lot of characters. You didn't really know who a lot of people were.
They just kind of ran with
characters. Ran with it. Like,
good. That's fine, though, personally, for me.
Yeah. Well, I didn't like that. I don't need to know them as much, but again, coming in from hearing it from other people I talked to, such as my wife, who's like, I didn't know who any of these people were. Now, she doesn't watch Star Wars as much as I do, but Mon Mothma, I don't think they mention. Bail Organa, who you see, they never mention his name. He plays a pretty pivotal part, the fact that he's the stepfather, if you will, to Princess Leia. Mm-hmm. And he does mention, I know somebody, which, by the way, Luca, you commented that they'll probably talk about Obi-Wan. Mm-hmm. He mentions Obi-Wan. He knows someone, this guy. He's disappeared. I followed him during the Clone Wars. He's a pretty big character and played a big part in the prequels. Mm-hmm. They don't mention who he is. A lot of the characters, you might hear their name once or twice. That's it. So I was kind of like...
Well, I think that's because of a saturation of characters, right?
And
newly being inserted into the universe.
How much time do you have to spend kind of introducing every character that you're gonna
But you don't. But in the first movie, how quickly did you know who Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie were?
Yeah, but they're the main characters. These guys play pivotal... Yeah, look, you got to remember, these guys play pivotal parts in a story.
Han, Luke, Leia, Chewie.
You're talking about characters. How long were their screen time? How long is their screen time, really? These guys that you're talking about that you're not hearing enough of or getting introduced to.
Some of them were in for
a good minute.
2/3 of the movie.
A couple minutes, not long. They didn't require
the blind
much.
Guy, his buddy.
But why do you
get a sense of who he was?
The blind guy and his buddy. I don't know their names without looking at Google. I have no clue who they are.
They mention it, and why do you need to oversteer and over-explain these things? Nobody cares. They're not the main focal point of this movie.
Outside of Jyn Erso, which they've mentioned enough times, you don't really remember any of the other characters.
Well, it's basically about Jyn Erso, the story.
Yes, it's her story.
You still want to know the supporting characters. They just there's too many people involved that play pivotal parts that they don't bring.
As important as the secondary characters, it goes like Jyn Erso, and then what's the assassin's name? The rebel, the guy who's gonna snipe.
Cassian.
Is it Cassian? Mm-hmm. Then Cassian's like the secondary character, and then like everyone else kind of trickles. So you learn less and less of all the other characters as you go down.
Yeah.
All right. So,
enough about me.
Yes, Ashton, you liked it. I have to go. I'm gonna go because I'm gonna play a bit of a negative part to it.
You can, however you feel.
So, first of all, to your point about not knowing the characters, I felt like this movie was more about the plot rather than the characters. A good movie usually focuses on character-driven stuff. I found this movie's focus was more on the plot and what the big picture was, because it was a setup story to explain how something happened that we now already know. So the characters were minor focuses because at the end of the movie,
story to me.
It was a Jin Urso story, and that was the minor thing, because at the end of the movie, everyone dies. Spoiler alert. They all die on the planet.
You
That's
just
why
say that before you spoiled it.
Yeah, I don't want to say that. I would say that
it's
to
hold
the
on,
end, but
it's too late. He's ruined the whole movie by his.
Well, to be fair, I think people, if they would be listening, and they wouldn't get to this point.
Okay.
Or if they didn't watch it, they want to know this anyways.
Yes,
So
exactly. So everyone dies. So you don't need to spend a lot of time explaining these characters when you know there's no attachment to them. They're just going to be dead. They're throwaways.
I was going to say that to the end, but I do want to mention that was probably one of my favorite things about this movie is that everybody dies.
Well, the thing was, it's the line in A New Hope when they're talking about going on the run to blow up the Death Star. It's like when they had the information, we lost many lives
To
getting
get
this
this,
information.
Yeah.
So now you know, and you actually have more of an impact when you hear that line.
Here's the thing for me.
Yeah.
I did not think Disney would go there.
No.
Because Disney is known for being safe and not having that tragic ending. But that ending, as peaceful as it was very sad. It was a beautiful sadness because you know that the job was accomplished and they got the information they needed, the rebels, but everyone died. Any similar attachment you had to Jyn Erso or Cassian, well, that's gone. The robot dies.
That was the saddest part in the movie.
Like, everyone dies.
And legitimately, I felt so bad for him.
I really like that. You have
the one thing I'm thinking is Disney, like, that's a good sign from Disney that Disney's willing to tell the best story, not just appease a certain audience. They're willing to tell the best story,
which is what you want.
Yeah.
Now, another thing I liked, and this is going to be just nitpicking things, I like the fact that Cassian and Jyn do not kiss, do not...
100%.
Yes, I did not want that. I felt like...
According to some reviews, they're like, they should have.
And we're going to get to that. But basically, I like the fact that they didn't, because that sounds like an easy cop-out. Of course, there's going to be that love connection, right? I like the fact that they didn't. Those were some of the things I liked. The movie...
Maybe Jyn was a lesbian or Cassian was gay.
Possibly, but we're now really trying
They don't go into it because it's not important.
Yes, it isn't, because they're all going to die anyway, so it doesn't matter. So anyways, point I'm getting at here is I liked the movie, I enjoyed it. My one complaint, which is very minor, is just it still felt too familiar to Disney. It's just the format. There's a certain reference I'm going to point out. There's a scene where they're getting bags over their head.
Yes.
And the blind guy is there.
Yeah.
And as soon as he started putting the bags over his head, I turned to Sabrina and said he'll make a reference about being blind. And cue the scene, he does it. And it's not that it's a bad thing.
But that's not Disney, though. You know, that's storytelling in general.
But Disney, it's the way Disney places it in a movie. And it's not that it's bad. It's just when I spend so much time watching these Star Wars movies, these Marvel movies, and it's like, it feels like Disney
movies
fatigue.
in general.
Not every movie, though, man. It's Disney fatigue. That's what it is. That's my only minor thing. It's not the movie. It's just Disney.
I never thought I'd say this, but I partly agree with you on that.
What? I was ready for you to just get all...
I disagree because, again, just for good... It was a perfect timing for comedy relief.
Yeah, you need it. I get that. It's good writing.
I hear what you're saying. It's set up. The one thing that I agree with you on is... that I don't think it had to go as far as it did, because the whole line was the bag goes over his head and he says, "Really, I'm blind."
Yeah.
If he just stuck with "really," that would have been it for me.
Yeah.
And when they said that, I was laughing already. And then he says, "I'm blind." I'm like, "Oh yeah, well, okay, obviously."
Yeah. It's implied. It's implied that he's blind. You don't need the bag.
So that I just want to say I partly agree.
It's just little things like that. Like, when Disney, it's like Disney sets it up in such a way that it's telegraphed. Like, it's coming. And I just want them to kind of change the format up. The reason, like, going back to, like, Civil War, the reason I liked it so much was there wasn't a lot of humor in it. It wasn't very funny. It was...
Well, that's why everybody hates DC movies.
It's a very... No. Yes. Well, DC's just bad. Let's just be honest. It's bad.
That's probably complaint number one. They're not funny.
It's bad.
There's no humor.
Yes, it was too dark. And I'm not saying not to have any humor, but the humor that Captain America Civil War had was very subtle and it was very light, and it wasn't forced into you, and it's like, here it is.
Spider-Man kind of seemed forced into you.
That was Civil War.
You said Civil War.
My apologies. I'm talking about Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's what
good
I thought.
catch.
Okay.
Good catch.
Spider-Man was awesome.
Yeah, but he was like thrown in there like, yes, everyone laugh. It's Spider-Man. He's going to be a kid. Ooh, he's funny.
But even the Dark
Knight. Like him,
Knight,
please, so we can sell some more movie tickets.
Even the Dark Knight and that Nolan's trilogy, when you watch it, it's very serious throughout the whole movie. The only
and it's
time,
amazing.
Absolutely, but the only time there's any sort of comic relief to break tension is any conversation he has between Alfred and Batman.
Or him and Bane.
Well, that's just Bane being hilarious because he's masked. But my point being is, it's there, but it's at a certain time. It's not right after a tense moment to kind of give them a break.
Mm-hmm.
It's the perfect example when they're shutting down the Batcave, the Dark Knight, and they're going up the elevator, and he says, basically, he's like, well, what am I going to tell everybody now that I'm going to admit I'm Batman? He's like, well, I told you so. He's like, what are you talking about, Alfred? I'm going to tell him it was all your idea. And it was funny, and it was good, playful banter.
Yeah.
But it wasn't in a scene that was just after being serious and tense.
Yeah.
How does this relate to Star Wars? Is
my point is, I just felt like Disney's too much of a formula. It just it feels the same. That's the only complaint I have. Movie's great. I liked it. If you're into Star Wars, go watch it.
Mm-hmm.
My other complaint I won't even get into.
I kind of want to see Ashton's reaction to your complaint because I know he's not going to...
Agreed.
Why not?
This is my other complaint. It's not even a complaint. This is just a thought personally.
All right, everyone,
It's
get
not,
ready.
It's not a complaint. It's a thought personally. I don't feel like this movie needed to be made. I don't feel like the story really needed to be told. It could have been explained in a backstory.
Ashton agrees with you.
It could have been done in a Marvel. Look at Marvel, what they do with the TV series. They could have done it in a movie series that kind of just explains it,
Like
if they
on
really
the W
wanted
Network
to.
or...
No, on Netflix, like a Netflix exclusive.
Okay. No, I don't know.
His complaints are actually not like...
I'm just saying
to piss me off today. It's actually like valid.
I'm just saying...
You were agreeing with... I'm like waiting for this to get him to set you off.
It's not a movie that necessarily required to be made because it was super pivotal. It's one of those things where it's like... It could just be
any
referenced.
of these movies going to be required to be made? Like, this is just Disney being Disney, cashing in on this massive empire they just purchased.
Well, yes, I think major episodes should be made because they're telling.
No, I'm talking.
These are the
one-offs.
years.
I'm talking the one-offs.
Not necessarily.
But
like Han, fine. I can see Han because he was a loved character, and you want to get his backstory and explain.
But then you can argue, why would that be made?
I want to know about the rebellion to be complete. I want to know about
this was
why.
a cool story to hear because this
but...
is something that everyone questioned.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about with A New Hope, like why would George Lucas write this, and why would the Empire build a stupid exhaust port in which we had the banter about engineers? This is great.
Yes, but they could have done it so simple and just made it like a one-off thing where
they did.
Not even a movie though, like a special feature on a DVD, Blu-ray, and there's
a story to be told though. There'd be cop out if it was like 20 minutes.
I don't think it was necessarily a story that they needed to make a whole movie out of. I don't think it was crucial for Disney to sit there and say, hey, this is a big story, we need to tell it. I think this was more of Disney saying, well, we have the rights and we're going to make a movie. And I'm not complaining because it was great, it was entertaining.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't think it was necessary. It was necessary. It was needed. You know where I'm coming from?
I do. This time I disagree though because I think it was a fun story. It was, you hear about it in New Hope.
I'm not arguing
what happened? Why did all these people die to get these plans?
I think it's important.
And it's the fact that they told this story. I thought this was great. This was a cool story to see. If they were going to tell a story, you got Han, you got Boba Fett. Yeah, it was going to be fun to watch. But this was a cool story it really ties into that and explains a lot.
Is it absolutely necessary? Did they need to tell this story to be able to
tell any stories? But they're going to. So the fact that they did, I think this is a great one to tell.
But it gives weight to the rest of episodes 4, 5, and 6. It gives huge weight to it.
Yes, absolutely. But if they didn't tell it, would you have sit there and been like, well, what the hell? I need to know what's going on. Or you've spent all this time without it.
These are questions that everyone's had for the longest time.
Well, the thing is, then you might as well say, did they need to make anything other than episodes 4, 5, and 6?
That's a great question.
Then they didn't have to expand on a trilogy. But you know what? We like Star Wars. We want stories about the Star Wars universe. And this is one that should be told.
And if you're going to tell a story,
what other stories would it tell in its place?
I'm not saying that the story is bad. I'm just saying, is it necessary? They could have wrote about it. They could have a book about it. There's a lot of different mediums that they could have crossed.
I think out of everything they could have told, this was a great way to start. I think this.
Yeah,
I'm not going to use necessary. This was a great storyline.
Yes, it was a good story. My question is
no,
is it
as
necessary?
a film, as a film. Forget the necessary part because none of it's necessary. Stick with that, and You Hope and
the first trilogy. You
were good.
Yeah, that's all you needed if you want to go with necessary.
That, this was a great story to tell and put it on
the screen. Yes, if
the
they're going to have a one-off and a story.
And that's what this is. And we talked about it. It's a one-off.
Well, it's a good wording because it's a story, right?
To be honest with you, where I'd rather they go, like I'd almost have waited for Rogue One to come out. Just tell a little bit between when Vader became Vader, like when he was melted from episode 3 to episode 4. I'd rather almost like a story before that to lead you into Rogue One. I'd almost rather that, but I'm sure I'm in probably the minority that would think that. I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's unnecessary. We don't need too much."
Vader was badass when you do see him.
Yeah.
Anyways. Go on, Luca. Give us your thoughts.
My thoughts.
I think we covered everything.
I think you guys basically said it all. No, seriously.
No.
We talked right after the movie.
Yeah.
We said the exact same thing. The beginning was jumping all over the place, which is unnecessary. All you do is just confuse the audience. You can just. I don't need to see 9 planets within the first 2 minutes, or within a couple minutes span. Keep it simple. Tell your story on one planet. Make sure it's worth it. If it's only supposed to be in for 20, 30 seconds, it's not worth telling. Make a reference to it.
Exactly.
The movie, as it progressed, got better and better throughout the whole movie.
Agreed.
I guess you've nailed basically everything, but what I would like to say is when they're fighting over... What's the planet?
At the end?
Yeah.
Scarif.
Scarif? When they're fighting over Scarif, that brought me back to like I was watching A New Hope for the first time. When you're seeing those X-wings, there's something about the X-wing, just seeing it flying up there, and it's just right before the events of A New Hope starting. When I saw that, I was giddy. I wasn't excited for the movie for some reason, like because it wasn't an episodic one, but I was happy I was seeing it, but I wasn't like giddy like when I watched episode 7 because there's I guess we're getting spoiled now that we're getting a Star Wars movie every year, so it's like, okay, cool, this is this year's Star Wars. Last year I was like through the moon when it was episode 7, but yeah, just the way they killed off all the people getting these plans, and you can see the effect it's had, and they could see what's her name, Mon Mothma, and when she says the line like we've encountered a lot of tragedy or a lot of casualties.
Yeah. I think they use the term Bothans, and I'm still trying to figure that out. But a lot of people died to get these plans.
And it's like now you see it, and you're like, "Oh,
these
are the people." Now it's like that's not just like you could see the way she had the line. You see that she's felt something like we've lost lives, but now it's like you feel it too.
That's right.
And then I think we get to the point, the ending.
Do you want to talk about the ending? I thought I'd leave that for you.
I will say the more I think about the movie since watching it, the more I liked it.
Yeah.
When I left initially, I was like, it was okay.
Yeah, I was gonna smack you.
I was like, it was alright, nothing crazy. But the more I thought
about
it,
in the snow and...
I enjoyed it. Well, a lot of us left going, it was okay.
Yeah. No, honestly, the movie could have been complete garbage, but once they showed the end, as I said in the pre-watching, Darth Vader being a badass.
How amazing was that?
I wanted more of it.
I wanted more. Yeah, I did want more of it, but it was enough to... It wasn't a Darth Vader story.
It was, under 40 seconds, I think, the whole hallway scene.
Where he's just massacring these people
he went
stuck.
to town.
Yeah, he went to town.
Yeah.
He went like full Russell Westbrook lately. Just throwing up triple doubles. That
insane. Was like a quadruple double there what he just did. It hasn't been seen.
It was like a Lay's chip. You bet you can't just have one. You watch that and it's like,
he couldn't just kill one.
You just couldn't kill one. You just want more of it.
Yeah, and it's just like he's like force throwing a guy up against the ceiling, like
holding him as he's killing other people.
Yeah.
And then this guy's like, I got all the plans, and there's a guy on the other side of the door. I'm going to wait till he kills everyone but me, and hopefully he doesn't use the force to pull it out of my hand.
But the fear that guy had to get those plans through the door because it was stuck, like, that spoke volumes. He's like, I know I'm going to die. Get these plans
But the crazy thing is...
He's the real MVP.
But no. But you got to look at it from the other perspective. This guy could have easily handed it off early, so it can be way out of Darth Vader's hands. But he's like, I'm holding on to this, so you guys keep trying to open this door.
People were panicking.
Yeah,
He's
open the door. No. He's like, open the door.
You want to save his life? Get ready.
I'm not giving you these plans till this door is open.
Then he was like, shit, I'm going to die. Here, take him.
He realized there's no point.
The greediest plan.
And I think that was the whole thing, right? You had a Star Wars movie through the whole time, no one sparks a lightsaber. And I think that was a question.
that
Okay,
was
who's gonna?
good.
I thought that blind guy was gonna do it.
Yeah,
He's talking about the Force.
Another good thing that they didn't
doing
do.
the Kyber crystal. I'm like, okay, this guy's got a lightsaber for sure. But no one sparks a lightsaber right to the end.
You know what?
You got the smoke. All these guys the rebels are there, and like, what the hell's going on?
I might be
Vader.
a terrible person
Like,
for saying this,
I'd like to hear it.
and I think you know where I'm going with
You're a
this.
terrible person.
Maybe he thought he had a lightsaber because he's carrying a staff around, and no one told him otherwise.
And the weird thing is he's making sounds. Vroom, vroom,
Because
vroom.
remember,
You picked up on that too?
remember in Dave Chappelle, the Chappelle Show, the first episode they played in Bigsby.
Yeah.
He doesn't know otherwise.
The white supremacist who actually was a black man.
That's hilarious.
But he was blind, so he didn't.
But-
So maybe they're playing onto that.
Having Vader be the one to do it in the film.
Yeah, that was great.
It was so dramatic.
Yeah.
And again, it was literally maybe 40 seconds, but he goes through, 9, 12 guys in a hallway and just decimates
I
them.
never understood the term "opened up a can of whoop ass" up until that
you
point.
saw that.
Yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin used to say it.
Yeah.
He lied about it. Vader just
Vader.
corrected it.
I'm pretty sure it was Stone Cold Steve Austin in
Yeah.
that Vader costume.
It might have been.
So
I'm
might
like
have just been.
100% sure.
even leading up to that point with the Battle above Scarif, and this is how amazing this battle was. You had one of the Corellian corvettes, or the Hammerhead corvette, and they decided, now this is where the rebellion actually did good. Again, killing a shit ton of people in the meantime.
Yeah.
But they have Star Destroyers. They know they're going to lose. They got to get these plans out of here. The only way to do is to destroy this force field, which is letting them get in or out. So they decide, you know what? We got to ram the shit out of that Star Destroyer into that force field. All right, we'll do it. So they know they're going to die. They're like, yep, good idea. They go full throttle into the Star Destroyer, push that, like, they ain't stopping, push that into a second Star Destroyer.
Yelled America while they did it.
I believe so.
There's a term
into
for
the
that.
force field, and that was amazing.
Yeah, that was really good.
Like, what a scene.
There's a term for that where you're so blinded by a cause and a belief, and
Called extreme radicalism. Is that what they call it nowadays?
No, but
there's
that was
no.
a bit different. Like, that was actually good that they like,
No.
this needs to be done. We're all gonna die
I thought you were
by
going for a
doing
joke
this.
there.
No, there's an actual term that describes someone when they're so caught up in their beliefs and what they're going for and their thoughts and everything that they're willing to risk everything
Extremist?
for it.
Martyrdom.
Yeah,
Martyrdom is dying
the
for a
term.
cause.
Yes, but that's what I was getting at. That's the word. Thank you for that.
But what, like, it was such that was emotional too. But what a scene! And they just said, "Screw it!
Yeah.
Like, let's do it. This is what needs to be done." And they all willingly know they're gonna die, and they do that because that was the right thing to do for them. This is the only way they're gonna do it. So that was amazing. And then leading into running to the end, the plans are passed on.
Passed on.
Finally.
Yep.
The guy didn't make it, and they said, "Well, who do we give the plans to?" And sure enough.
It's where we first see the plans from 1977.
That's right. It's Princess Leia, a very young-looking Princess Leia.
That I think was CG. I don't think it was an
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. I'm thinking about
that
it.
was
I think it
incredible CG.
Oh, that was
Fantastic.
CG. That's the same thing they do with Robert Downey Jr. in
That's
Civil
right.
War
Yeah, when he was younger.
when he was younger.
Okay.
So gives Princess Leia the plans. They take off in I think it's the Corellian Corvette or whatever it's called, and they go. And Vader's standing there, literally in almost the vacuum of space at the edge of the ship that's torn apart, just staring at it, and you know where that's going.
Yeah.
And that was brilliant.
You know what's awesome about it, and I'm curious. I'm curious about this. Why was Leia so close to the battle? Like, if I was Princess Leia, I'd be like,
She was
"Yo,
a
I'm
rebel.
valuable. I'm staying far
Well, she was a
away."
rebel. I don't think she was like an official princess. I think she came from royalty.
No,
right?
she was
She's a
princess
princess.
at that time.
Yeah, she was Princess
Yeah.
Leia. They
She
called
was
her
at
princess.
that time. She was, if I'm not mistaken, like she was again. She's always been part of the
'Cause
cause.
I wondered that when I
right?
saw that,
She's
I
always
always
part of the
thought-
cause, and so she was with that team. And when they were on, I don't know what planet it was, where you actually see C-3PO and R2D2. Nice little cameo. I
Yeah.
liked it. Very simple. They kept it easy.
Good shout out to the fans. Everything. Yeah, great.
had a
Because
bunch
they,
of them,
they
man.
Yeah.
were a part of the whole rebellion. They were part of like all the battles they went to. C-3PO and R2D2 were there.
He was there more than Luke.
Yeah, Luke
No,
wasn't
seriously, they really were.
They've been a part of everything. So the fact that they were on that planet and they said, okay, and then you hear that little line where it's like, prep the escape pods, which ties into those are the escape pods they take. Like, it all plays a part. So Leia was always a part of this mission. So she knew what needed to be done, and she wanted to be a part of it. That's why she was there. And as well, I think she even mentioned it. She played off as they were on a diplomatic mission, right? So to go see the Empire, and to discuss with them what they were doing, and then because she's still kind of part of the whole Senate, right? You still have the Republic, you had the Empire, and then you had the rebels. There are that I was trying to figure out too, but that's where she came in.
One minor complaint that I wanted to touch on. We were talking about how Jyn Erso's dad became a farmer, former engineer for the Empire, and now he's farmer.
Yeah.
What was he farming? Because I didn't see any herds of sheep or other crazy space animals.
Those are plants. You don't need to.
Well, look at what. I can shut this down quickly. Look at Tatooine. It's a desert planet, yet.
They're junk farmers.
Owen and Brew, they're farmers.
Yeah, they're junk farmers, right?
No,
scraps.
They were water, weren't they?
Like, I forget what the term was called.
Moisture farms, weren't they?
Yeah, moisture farms.
Well, I was just wondering. I didn't see anything.
It was a pretty luscious planet. So he was farming something.
Yeah, he had. I think he had
tall grass. He was just farming tall grass. That just
maybe edible grass.
Who knew?
I didn't see him eating.
Where does blue milk come from? Maybe it's a byproduct of what he was farming.
Maybe he was the first one to discover almond milk, actually, and now. Maybe we'll have a whole new story.
Used.
Maybe we'll have a whole new story about almond milk.
I'll come in the
Star Wars
like
story.
Star Wars, how it's made.
Yeah, exactly.
Almond milk.
Do it yourself, Star Wars.
So overall, Matt, you enjoyed the movie?
Yeah,
I think
good.
A little more now than before.
It was a good movie. It was entertaining. It's if you want good action, you're gonna get it. If you want somewhat of a story, you're gonna get it. The acting was okay. I wouldn't say it was standout. Like, oh my god! Outside of
I don't know if it was the characters or if it was the actors. I'm not sure what it was.
Mads Mikkelsen is a fantastic.
He's awesome.
He's a fantastic actor.
He was amazing.
He is a really good actor.
So like some of the actors were great.
I really enjoyed. My bad. That was me.
That was Ashton.
I really enjoyed.
I'm gonna be John Tortorella right here, and I'm not talking the rest of the podcast.
I really enjoyed Ben Mendelsohn's character. Director Krillick. I really did enjoy him.
So funny that you bring up Krillick again. You know who I thought he was for the first 15 minutes of the movie? The principal from Breakfast Club. And then I'm like, wait, maybe he's a principal from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Because he reminded me of him. And then I'm like, nope, I'm thinking of different people.
Yes, you are. This was good. Luca, overall?
No, I loved it. Like, yeah, as much as we always say you're the Star Wars fan, I grew up buying the trilogies on VHS. Then they had the widescreen edition. The original, not the original, but when I got it in the early 90s, late 80s.
The widescreen, then they went to the special edition.
Yeah. Then they went to special widescreen
There's the silver
edition.
There's the silver trilogy box. There's the gold one.
Yeah.
The CP3O box.
The what?
C3PO. Matt knows.
C3O. Sorry.
But no, I love The New Hope, and this is just all the backstory to A New Hope, and it's done in modern times with, filmmaking's been getting better and better, and it just brought me back to watching A New Hope, and now I want to watch A New Hope right now. Anyways,
something I wanted to, you said modern times. One thing I don't know if you guys picked up on, what I really liked about this movie is it had a 70s feel to it.
Yeah.
If you noticed, everyone had thick mustaches, bushy hair.
Back the cinch heads.
It had to set up A New Hope because it would look a little weird if everyone was pretty clean shaven modern times now with their aesthetics, and then you go into A New Hope shot in the 70s, everyone with the 70s look.
Everyone's got those those studs in the ears and
I will argue that the facial hair is back, but not the mustache, just the full beard.
No, this was mustache.
Yeah,
these were mustache.
Which was true.
A lot of mustache rides going on in space.
Yes, yeah. No pants dance once in a while if you play your cards right. Anyways, you know what my favorite part about the whole experience was though? If you watched it in IMAX, you got the 10-minute preview for Dunkirk, and that looked unreal.
We also got a 30-second preview of Logan, which froze.
Oh yes, that's right. But the
special edition.
Speaking of, you know how we watched it in IMAX and we got the 10-minute intro to Dunkirk. I was talking to Frank last night. He also watched opening night. I offered him, we had an extra ticket. I offered him to come with us. No, I'm gonna go watch it with some other friends.
Frank, if you're asking, is a friend of the show.
Yes. Yeah. And he told me, he's like, it was stupid that the trailers. The Americans got the 10-minute trailer. We got the 2-minute one. I'm like, what do you? I'm like, was it 2 minutes? I wasn't sure if we saw
Where did
the
he
10.
watch it?
He watched it in Woodbridge. He watched it at the IMAX up there.
We got the 10
We got the full one, and
Yeah.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
I'm like Raven. I'm like, how good was that trailer? He's like, it was alright.
Oh,
like, I don't see what the people have. Too bad we didn't get the trailer.
The tension in that scene, like you felt it. You felt the tension. Oh man, I'm so psyched for it, and it's a great war story.
Yeah.
If you know anything about it,
I don't, but I'm dying to see the movie.
put it this way: if Hitler didn't fuck up, and I'm gonna swear on it, and
You just did.
yeah, if he didn't fuck up, the British would have surrendered, and World War II would have been played out very, very, very differently.
Well, I think
Allies
Russia was the biggest part, but that might have been
but
contributing.
There was 330,000 Allies that got rescued in Dunkirk, in that city alone. So imagine if the Germans wiped it out like they wanted to, and Hitler didn't change his plans. So it's gonna be interesting. Very, very.
Spoiler alert for Dunkirk.
It's a historic event.
I do want to touch because I don't think we talked about it enough, but I know I mentioned him earlier. K2SO.
He is okay. So we were gonna do something. We're running short on time. Maybe we'll do it later. But looking at all the negative reviews and Ashton's reaction to him, every single negative review loves K2SO. Like, there's not one review I've seen that like he or she or whatever.
That character was amazing. The comic relief.
It was very well done.
And K2SO brought you up to speed on everything else. He's a reprogrammed Imperial droid who, because of the reprogramming, happens to speak his mind. So the first thing that goes into his circuits, he says out loud. So the stuff he says is so inappropriate at times, and that's what makes it brilliant.
One of the negative reviews is like, how does the robot have the most personality out of everyone in the movie?
That's actually hilarious.
It's funny.
You know
what's good?
You know what? It was great. Why his humor was great. It was very grim because it was always talking about the chances of survival, and it was never good.
Yeah, not quite C-3PO chances of survival, because he was like,
No, but it was just like, we have a 23 chance of survival, 17 chance. Sorry.
That was Matt.
And on that note...
No, you're right, and there was a great part where, obviously, he doesn't warm up to Jin at all. No. At a certain point, Cassian trusts Jin a little more than K2SO, and that really pissed him off.
Do you blame her or him?
Right.
Whatever it is.
They mention that she gets a blaster. Why doesn't he? Who do you trust? And he actually brings up points saying she'll shoot you at any moment that she gets. And then at one point they're on, again, a planet I have no idea. Oh no, Jeddah. They're on Jeddah where the kyber crystals are, and this is the first big battle sequence that we see. And Jin turns around and shoots, and a droid very similar to K2SO.
The same Imperial droid
goes
but
down.
Still Imperial.
Then it pans over, and you see him standing there. How a droid looks shocked. He did, and he's like, "Did you know that wasn't me?" And it was brilliant.
That was good. that was great.
There were so many good lines. Not cheesy. They were actually smart.
Now, before we wrap up this podcast, very quickly, where does this rank amongst your Star Wars films? There's been 7. Well, there's 8 now.
I haven't even thought of that. It's over all the prequels. It's above that for me.
I could make a fan film over the prequels.
Yeah, well, I have the Phantom edit. I don't know if you've watched it. I think I've given you it, where someone actually edited all 3 movies into 2-hour movie.
It's a fight scene. The Phantom Menace got a fight scene.
Yeah.
The last one.
It was like 3 minutes
Duel
long.
of Fates with Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul. If I had to rank all of them, I never put... Well, that's a lie. I've thought about it many times. I would say, adding this one, I would say Empire, Jedi. I'd say Force Awakens. A New Hope is good. There's stuff I just didn't like about it.
New Hope
Force
might be
Awakens,
one of my favorite ones.
A New Hope. I'd say Rogue One, and then probably Revenge of the Sith. So Episode 3.
3, 2, 1.
No, I hated Attack of the Clones. I'd say Phantom Menace, then Attack of the Clones.
I'm not going to review them all.
Phantom Menace
I
is
hated
such shit.
Well, so was Attack of the Clones.
Dude, half the movie was pod racing.
I enjoyed that.
Spawned
that might be the best part.
Yeah, that was the best part of the movie. And Darth
Darth
Maul was incredible. He was one of the best villains ever. So that's my order.
What's your go on this?
It ties so close to A New Hope, and I don't know if A New Hope is my favorite of the trilogy. I'm not sure.
Really? I thought you liked Jedi.
I like them. I never rated them. I like them as a trilogy. I never thought of them as individual movies. I don't know. So,
keep you on your toes here. That's what I do.
I'm trying to think what I like more. The Force Awakens. I think I like The Force Awakens a bit more than this. So it would have to be after the original trilogy and just a bit out of the Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Although I feel upon multiple watchings or multiple viewings of the movies, I think this one's going to stand up better than a Force Awakens for me.
You think so?
I think, but I have yet to watch it, but I think it will.
So, number one's Empire. Empire is by
Hands
far
down.
the number one Star Wars film.
It is.
And
That's
then
really good.
I'm going. This is gonna be pretty bold. Force Awakens.
Really?
Yes,
I didn't see that coming.
I loved Force Awakens.
It was great.
I thought it was so well done, and I left the theater.
This is shocking from what the garbage that he talks and spits out about Force Awakens and New Hope.
I left the theater excited for what was to come, and I haven't felt that way after watching a Star Wars movie.
There's still a lot of mystery there.
Exactly, there was so much they can explore and go with the characters.
I can just go off right now on that and contradicting himself, but yes, go on.
No,
I like this.
I was talking about the characters, like Rey. I really liked Rey. I really liked Finn. BB-8 was good. There was a lot of mystery and fun behind them.
It felt like a more true to Star Wars than
it left. I really enjoyed the characters. I want to see what more they're gonna bring to me. I'm really interested to see who's Rey's parents and where she get the Force from and all this nonsense.
Did anyone but me, because the main characters die in Rogue One, did anyone think Jyn was the mother of Rey? And
until she died, yeah, I thought that's a possibility.
Really?
I thought it was a possibility.
I thought there was a
I didn't
possibility
think so.
because in Star Wars, everyone's related somehow.
She had the
Kyber crystal?
the Kyber crystal, and I'm like, she's got some connection to the Force here.
No, I didn't. For me,
But
I didn't get that.
anyways, Force Awakens. Why I love the characters. I loved Rey and Finn. I want to see more of them, and I thought they did a great job with it. Then I'd go New Hope, Return of the Jedi.
New Hope before Jedi.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I'd go Rogue One, and then I forget the prequels can go.
Yeah, that's
burn.
okay. You don't have to.
You're just gonna throw them
Yeah,
all
I
into
don't-
one pile of trash.
Honestly, I don't even know if I've seen the prequels since the theaters.
I did when Force Awakens came out. I rewatched all of them.
I watched them a ton.
Dude, I was laboring through 2 and 1. I was like, oh my god, this is so bad. So bad.
I really think that we can do a whole other podcast on Star Wars, and I'm dying to do it.
But
because
we're a
there's-
gaming podcast.
Question: would you prefer to watch Street Fighter, the movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme,
I'll take Star Wars over it.
Yeah.
or Phantom Menace?
No,
I think I might take Street Fighter. I genuinely think I'd take Street Fighter because I'd laugh more at Street Fighter how bad it is.
You'd laugh more at Street Fighter.
Yeah.
I
Well,
thought
just
you'd
'cause
laugh
how
more
bad
at
it is.
a Phantom.
I get it.
No, Phantom Menace is just crippling.
funny.
It's cripplingly bad.
But come on, though. At least they have their saving grace in this fella named Jar Jar Binks.
No, that's why it's so crippling bad.
I do want to leave on one note here to get everybody
We all
thinking.
have one note.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
another-
So
another-
maybe 3 more. But I was actually talking to a cousin of mine, and we're both big Star Wars fans. And
Which cousin?
this is Adrian. So we had a discussion, and one thing that he brought up with the New Hope, he has a lot of theories. He likes to read into theories. He likes to
So he's that guy
almost
online?
spoil movies.
Oh, I hate that.
Not to other people, but he just likes to know and read up what everyone's talking about. And he brought up a theory to me about Force Awakens, which I never thought of. And so I want to leave this little tidbit for you guys.
This isn't like leaked scripts or
No,
anything.
it's Force Awakens. Episode 7, nothing to do with Episode 8. This is Episode
But
7.
did he read something that's potentially
No,
happening?
these are
'cause I don't wanna know-
theories. No, these are theories about Force
These
Awakens.
theories aren't based. They're based on just thoughts in people's heads, not
Yes.
what they've read.
Yes.
Yeah, people who smoke a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
drugs and overthink.
Based on watching this movie and the reactions they saw, so I'll leave you with this: the scene where Han and Kylo Ren are on the bridge,
Yeah.
and Han meets his end.
Mm-hmm.
The big theory going around right now is Han triggered the lightsaber that Kylo Ren was holding.
What do you mean triggered?
He turned it on.
Oh.
And I didn't quite buy into that. And when he started explaining it to me, and it's really, if you see that, look at the look on Kylo Ren's face. It's not something that he was satisfied that he did. It almost looked like more, it was shock. And it was almost like if it was Han coming to him, he's like, he wants to stop him from what he was trying to do, go to the dark side. And he knew that this was probably one of the ways he can do it, because if, and I mentioned this before with how the whole Sith theory works, if Kylo Ren were to kill Han, that would pretty much push him into the dark side, because that's one of the big things to become a Sith is you kill a family member, almost like the Yakuza.
So like he would almost go in like undercover because he didn't actually do it.
Well, not undercover, but the fact that he didn't do it, he took that away from him. So, which also shows why Kylo Ren could, in future movies, still be very conflicted with the dark and the light, as he was in this movie.
Like a Vader at the end of Return.
There you go. There you go. So,
well, according to how Star Wars does stuff, they like to recycle old stories. So
yeah, that's everything now. They just re-announced Blade Runner 2049 or whatever.
That looks really cool.
With Harrison Ford.
Yeah, of course.
So that's where Harrison Ford went. He didn't die. He just went into the future. Another past.
That would be past for them.
Is it? Star Wars takes place in the past, if I'm not mistaken. Everyone assumes it's the future just because of space, but I think actually Star Wars takes place in the past.
A galaxy far, far away in the past. Yeah. So we're just like getting like the satellite feed.
How the hell is Harrison Ford still doing old his
movies? Is that what you said?
Yeah, like he's doing new movies that are old. He's gonna do Indiana Jones again apparently, or there's rumors of that. He did Star Wars again. Now he's doing Blade Runner.
Look, the guy was flying a plane. His engine cut out, and he survived it. He's gonna do anything.
He got his ankle broken on The Force Awakens, and he's okay.
I'm not saying anything bad about Harrison Ford. I'm just saying it's funny how we're rebooting everything again. Yeah. I wonder who touched on that for a whole season.
The whole South Park season.
On a side note, for my cousin Adrian, he does have a not necessarily a podcast, but a YouTube channel. He's called The Nerding Nest, so check him out.
The Nerding Nest.
The Nerding Nest.
Spaces or no?
Good question. I should know. Try them both. The Nerding Nest. Check him out on YouTube. He does video game coverage as well. Right now he's playing, switching between Fallout, Overwatch.
He's playing Fallout.
Yeah, the Titanfall. So there's some good videos on there. But I'll leave that little Force Awakens tidbit with you guys.
Yeah.
And
so if you're sick of our movie talk, you can go check him out for his
actual gaming
talk, as we should be. Yeah. So yeah, no, that's it for me. We need to do another Star Wars podcast.
Okay, so we're done with movies.
We're going to preview... I'm going to preview this out to them. We are going to be having a bunch of different podcasts coming at you under a different name. We'll be... Gone Gamin will be our gaming podcast.
We're thinking of names.
But we're thinking of some names, and there will be some for movies, TV shows, and other such things. So
we'll branch out.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll hear in a future podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm Luca.
I'm Ashton.
And I'm Matt. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening to this movie edition of Gone Gamin'.